I went with my friends to a weekend house and spent a few days there. This weekend house is located at the edge of a forest and is in a very peaceful area. There aren't really any large animals around here, so the danger isn't too great. That's why the idea of going for a walk in the forest at night didn't seem strange or even scary. Our group can be called nature enthusiasts. We love observing animals, insects, and plants. For some reason, this forest called to us. We decided to go into the forest but promised not to stray from the path that led through it, so we wouldn't get lost. As we started into the forest, the jokes and spooky stories that came to mind began to circulate. Honestly, it was more interesting and somewhat scarier to hear these stories while being in the middle of a dark forest. As we moved deeper into the woods, it eventually got so dark that we couldn't see anything without our flashlights. At that point, I thought I heard laughter from a distance, but after listening carefully, the others didn't hear anything. I thought I must have imagined it because of all the scary stories. As we continued further into the forest, suddenly everyone heard the laughter, but it was so loud that it seemed to come from right beside us. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure out where the sound was coming from because everyone pointed in different directions. Suddenly, as we moved forward, one of my friends froze and stopped moving. As I lifted my head and raised my arm to ask what was wrong, I saw something over his shoulder. There was a woman there. I could only see her outline, and she was holding some kind of stick in her hand. One of my friends behind me got scared and tried to back away but was unsuccessful, as something caught his leg. When we looked to see what it was, we saw that his ankle was tangled in some kind of root. With great effort, we managed to free him, and then everyone took off running. As I was running, something grabbed my leg and started pulling me back. I managed to hold onto a tree, but I couldn't free myself from the grip. When my friends quickly came back for me, we saw that the hand was made of wood and was moving as if it were alive. They quickly freed me, and we started running again. After a while, we encountered something I never would have imagined. The path and the forest were overgrown with trees. The trees looked as if they had grown right out of the road, which was impossible since we had just walked this way an hour ago. We tried to go around it and ran into the forest. I think we ran for at least 2 hours before we could make it through the dense wall of trees. At that point, we all took a deep breath and tried to make our way back to the weekend house. In the end, we spent a total of 6 days in the forest before a search team found us. The searchers couldn't believe that we were all alive and that aside from being malnourished, we were otherwise fine. When we told them what had happened, they didn't believe us because the searchers had also walked the path where we claimed trees had grown in the middle of the road. Fortunately, everyone was safe and sound. We agreed as a group that we would never go into the forest at night again.